Saskatoon considers a one-stop shop to help the homeless. What could be in the works? Still waiting, how some who lost their homes in wildfires this summer are coping without a permanent roof over their heads. And the push for First Nations-led policing, what a plan could look like for some communities.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the city's latest efforts to help the homeless. It's looking to build a navigation hub, a one-stop shop of sorts. But as Keenan Sorokon tells us, the planned timeline and potential location made some city councillors a little uncomfortable.
Plans for a community navigation hub are moving quickly at City Hall, and it's a little too quick for some councillors looking to explore all options before going down a specific path.
This is premature, and there's an earlier step that needs to be kind of fulfilled first before we can kind of tackle all of these.
As part of a federal funding application, plans to tackle homelessness include a navigation hub, which would offer coordinated services from basic hygiene and stabilization needs to more intensive supports. A report before a committee Wednesday was just for information, highlighting gaps and potential ways to fill them, and that was enough for Councillor Holly Kelleher, who tasked administration to look at partnerships and ways to build and operate the hub and bring back an update in the spring.
But I think that this central navigation piece is really significant in the sense that it provides a one-stop shop.
But it also reignited the east side-west side debate, with somewhere between downtown and St. Paul's Hospital identified as a potential location. The other area is on the east side of the river where there are no services, something noted by administration.
There's a lot of concern from residents and business about the concentration of services in one area.
If we have it on the other side of the river, that tends to be kind of the boundary, so I do have concerns about that.
The report originally looked at a series of mini hubs or one hub until Kelleher's motion.
I would have rather seen a more fulsome debate on one big hub versus multis, because I think those were presented as future options in the report. So for us to make a decision on that today is a little concerning to me.
Costs range from $8.7 to $32 million, depending on council's decision. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A 37-year-old man has been charged following a crash that closed the University Bridge this morning. This was the scene at about 9:30. Police say at about 8:45 they were told about a black car driving erratically in the wrong lanes and not obeying traffic signals. A patrol officer tried to pull over the vehicle on 7th Avenue North, but it sped off. The vehicle then collided with a truck on the University Bridge. The driver of the car is charged with dangerous driving, evading police, and impaired driving. No one was seriously injured. A Saskatoon man has died following a rollover in southeastern Saskatchewan. RCMP say his vehicle rolled on Highway 8 south of Spy Hill, which is east of Esterhazy, just before 8:30 last night. He's been identified as a 29-year-old man from Saskatoon. His identity has not been released, and there is no word on what contributed to the crash. A Saskatoon man is facing charges of child pornography following an investigation by the Saskatchewan Internet Child Exploitation Unit. On October 8th, police searched a Saskatoon home where investigators looked at and seized electronic devices. 50-year-old Sean Warren Briscoe has been charged with 2 counts of possessing child pornography and 1 count of making it available. Briscoe appeared in court yesterday and released on conditions. He's scheduled to be back in court November 3rd. It's been almost 5 months since wildfires devastated some Saskatchewan communities. And while some residents have received the help they need, others are still waiting. As Carla Shinkrig found out, there are questions about when help is coming as winter approaches.
This is what's left of the place Alicia Lundgren called home in Denair Beach with her 3 kids. She now lives in a camper on her grandparents' lot. No running water. Her kids are not with her. As the colder weather moves in, she worries.
I've been waiting for information from the Red Cross on that on the temporary housing that they have brought in.
She says she applied with the Red Cross in the village of Denair Beach, which carried out a needs assessment survey this fall to get necessary help to those who need it.
So we felt pretty confident that we've captured all the people that were in need and had not acquired housing.
Thompson says 245 homes were lost, and so far 25 of these units have been brought in. According to the province, rent for these ranges from $680 to $1,700 a month and are based on market rates.
Most people have acquired housing on their own. So either rental house or an apartment or such.
The province, which makes the decisions for eligibility, told us the government has committed $30 million in wildlife recovery to support cleanup, debris management, and temporary housing. The recovery task team is working closely with Denair Beach leadership to identify and support all individuals and families that need housing ahead of winter. In addition, Red Cross case managers are working in the community to support and connect individuals to programs and services. But Lundgren, who works as a fire administrator for the Saskatoon Public Safety Agency, is eager to live in a place with her children as soon as possible, and she's not sure why she hasn't received help.
I never, ever thought that I would be in a situation like this. Like, I don't even have a fixed address.
We reached out to the Red Cross, who tell us they distribute the financial assistance to those who are eligible in conjunction with the Sask Public Safety Agency. Lundgren says she's getting some financial help from the Federal Disaster Assistance Program for basic living expenses. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The jury in a Saskatoon manslaughter trial is expected to be charged tomorrow morning. Roderick Sutherland has pleaded not guilty to manslaughter, unlawful confinement, and offering an indignity to human remains in connection to the death of 30-year-old Megan Gallagher. During the trial, court heard Gallagher was killed about 5 years ago inside a Saskatoon garage while she was restrained to a chair. Key evidence in the case includes a recorded video statement Sutherland gave to police and testimony from Bobby Thomas, one of the people who was in the garage. The judge in the case is scheduled to deliver his instructions tomorrow to the jury on how to apply the law to reach a verdict. A handful of Indigenous communities across Canada have adopted self-administered policing. Now, the Prince Albert Grand Council is hoping to be next. Hallie Mandrick has that story.
First Nations leaders, policing partners, and community staff have gathered in Saskatoon to discuss self-administered First Nations policing across the Prince Albert Grand Council's 12-member nations.
The whole intent of the RCMP things have changed in the last 10 years. And we need to evolve. We need to modernize with times. And when's the last time some of these policies and guidelines, procedures have been updated or modernized to meet the needs of today's challenges in our communities?
The Prince Albert Grand Council is hosting a 2-day policing conference to review community feedback and discuss the next steps towards a First Nations police service.
The community members have to agree this is what we want, this type of policing. Of course, the RCMP will always be there, but we want to include a self-administered policing, the First Nations.
Throughout 2023 and 24, the PAGC hosted a series of engagement sessions across 28 communities to get some feedback on the prospect of a First Nations police service, which saw more than 8,000 people attend. A survey conducted with 848 participants showed that 75% of respondents are in favor of the idea. The results also showcased that just over half of the respondents do not feel safe in their communities.
And I truly believe under the Grand Council, the model that I hope that we implement is under the Grand Council. And then by pooling resources, ideas, I think we can be a lot better to respond to today's challenges.
Only a portion of the community engagement results were showcased at the conference, but a full report of the findings will be provided by March.
It takes people, chief and councils, to be ready, consulting with their community. This is the route we want to go in policing, and that, to have that vote, and then to be able to have that funding, maybe from Canada, and the support from Saskatchewan, to be able to hire that person to do that, to start that process, to start the work.
Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Well, Jeff, it was a great day today, but I guess it could have been worse, right?
Well, yes, it could have been thunder and lightning and a snowstorm and a blizzard or something like that, a tornado. Could have been a sharknado. But yes, today was a great day, but temperatures were a little warmer than they certainly were yesterday and the day before that, and they will continue to be on warmer than those days, and we're actually going to see some above seasonal temperatures as we make our way into the next couple of days. We'll talk about that more later on. Just a quick look at our satellite radar shot. We're keeping our eye on this Colorado low that's making its way up through Montana and the Dakotas, eventually sort of anchored in Manitoba, but impacting impacting parts of southeastern Saskatchewan. It doesn't look like it's going to be a rainmaker for central and northern parts of the province. More on that later.
Construction on Saskatchewan's new copper mine is more than halfway complete. Stacey Hine now on what it means for our province.
Construction on Foran's McIlvena Bay mine, southwest of Creighton, is now 60% complete. It will be Saskatchewan's first copper mine in 30 years and is set to start production next year. Once operational, the mine could produce up to 4,900 tons of copper, zinc, gold, and silver each day over an 18-year lifespan. Foran says the mine will help meet the growing demand for copper, a metal essential for electricity conduction. Copper is found in homes, buildings, cell phones, and is critical for electric vehicles and AI data centers.
The demand for critical minerals is only increasing as we go through the energy transition of the next few decades, of course, in particular for copper, but also zinc as well.
Foran aims to make this Canada's first carbon-neutral copper mine. The project has drawn national attention, with Prime Minister Mark Carney naming it one of 5 nation-building projects to be fast-tracked. Meanwhile, the province says the mine will boost Saskatchewan's economy.
This is a significant investment of $1 billion into our economy here in Saskatchewan, which is providing the opportunity for jobs and supports for families.
The Minister of Energy and Resources adds the project advances the province's critical minerals strategy, which aims to double mineral output and increase mineral exploration spending by 15% by 2030. When fully operational, the mine is expected to support 400 jobs. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The City of Prince Albert is taking a step towards zoning changes, which would allow more development on existing residential lots. As Jasmine Pelche reports, councillors say the changes are necessary to get access to federal infrastructure money.
Prince Albert is one step closer to allowing 4 housing units per lot in all low-density residential areas. At Tuesday's Executive Committee meeting, Prince Albert City Council voted 8-1 in support of a motion to permit up to 4 units per residential lot. The city intends to apply for $40 million in Canada Housing Infrastructure funding to upgrade the wastewater treatment plant. The Canada Housing Infrastructure Funding Program requires municipalities with populations over 30,000 to permit up to 4 housing units per residential lot.
Once the minimum standards are met with the federal government, our zoning bylaw is not a static document. It can be flexible, it can change, so we'll continue to monitor the impact of the program and the impact of the regulations we put in place.
The city says the money would help avoid passing the full cost of the upgrades to utility ratepayers.
We don't have a choice. We can't throw away millions and millions and millions of dollars and then try and collect from our public.
2, 3, and 4 unit builds would only be approved if the plans follow existing regulations and are supported by infrastructure.
I'm not a big fan of how this grant came forward, but we definitely need this monies in our community.
Earlier this year, a housing needs assessment showed Prince Albert was 1,400 units short of what's needed for housing in the city. The zoning amendment does not include country residential properties north of the river. There is a public hearing on the motion scheduled for November 17th. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
A prominent Saskatchewan lawyer known best for representing residential school survivors has died. Tony Merchant died on Thanksgiving Monday at the age of 81. His 2005 class action lawsuit resulted in a $1.9 billion settlement against the federal government and is considered the largest in Canadian history. He also served in the legislature from 1975 to 1978 as Liberal MA for Regina Wascana. A service for Tony Merchant will be held next week. Still to come, Newfoundland and Labrador has a new incoming government. Also, a major player in the automotive industry plans to pick up and head south, what it means for Canada. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. A major blow to Canada's automotive industry. Stellantis, the multinational company, is planning to pack up production of the Jeep Compass in Brampton, Ontario, and move it to Illinois. The move and the timing is bad news for an already unstable sector. Michael Couture reports.
Industry Minister Melanie Joly wouldn't specify exactly how, but the federal government is considering legal action against Stellantis.
We will make sure that we push the company and we hold them to account.
A letter from Melanie Joly to the company's CEO identifies legally binding commitments the car company made in the past as part of a deal with Canada and Ontario.
We've invested millions of dollars in that facility based on the commitment that they would be investing in a new model. And so that's why, if they don't do so, we'll hold them to account.
Ontario's premier is also digging in.
I'm not going to give them a penny because it was tied in to making sure Windsor and keep Brampton going.
Doug Ford says the head of Stellantis told him yesterday they were going to find a new model for the Brampton plant and move 1,500 workers to the one in Windsor. In a statement, Stellantis said Canada is very important to us, adding, "We have plans for Brampton and we'll share them upon further discussions with the Canadian government." But Doug Ford believes the car company is shifting $13 billion in investment to the U.S. because of trade uncertainty triggered by President Donald Trump.
That guy, President Trump, he's a real piece of work. You know something? What my message to the Prime Minister when I meet him on Thursday is if you can't get a deal, let's start hitting him back.
Canadian vehicles to grow our auto industry.
Prime Minister Mark Carney campaigned on standing up to Trump. However, in recent months, Canada has removed most counter tariffs on U.S. products except steel, aluminum, and autos. In a post on social media, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre claimed the Prime Minister sold out workers and let their jobs move to the U.S. The minister responsible for trade with the U.S., Dominic LeBlanc, returned to Washington on Monday. He's working with Canadian negotiators to continue talks with their American counterparts on trade. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Voters in Newfoundland and Labrador have elected a new progressive Conservative government, ousting the governing Liberals after 10 years in power.
Pollsters and pundits were saying it was going to be another Liberal majority. But we knew, all of us.
Tony Wakeham's Progressive Conservatives secured 21 of the legislature's 40 ridings. It's a gain of 7 seats, enough to form a slim majority government. Liberal leader John Hogan's party won 15 ridings, while the NDP, led by Jim Dinn, doubled its seat count to 2. In the Middle East, Israel says the Red Cross has received the remains of 2 more hostages that were to be returned from Gaza under terms of the current ceasefire agreement. But the military cautioned that the identities have yet to be verified. 4 other bodies were returned overnight, but Israeli authorities said one was not that of a hostage. 4 bodies confirmed as hostages were also repatriated on Monday. Today, Israel's defense minister instructed the military to prepare a comprehensive plan to defeat Hamas in Gaza if the war is renewed. In the Gaza Strip, the health ministry says it has received 45 more bodies of Palestinians from Israel. A number of Red Cross vehicles thought to be transporting the bodies were seen in central Gaza. They were heading toward a hospital in the southern city of Khan Yunis. So far, a total of 90 bodies have been returned. Israel is expected to hand over more bodies, but officials have not said how many are in their custody or how many will be returned. And trucks loaded with aid were seen moving across the southern Gaza Strip today. The Egyptian Red Cross said that at least 400 vehicles carrying food, fuel, and medical supplies were bound for the territory. Meanwhile, Israel has resumed preparations to open the main Rafah crossing. It had threatened to continue barring entry, saying Hamas was returning bodies too slowly. An Israeli official said that 600 aid trucks would go in. The United Nations says 600 is a good base, but not enough to meet the scale of need. Defense Minister David McGuinty attended a NATO meeting in Brussels today as the allies seek to bolster support for Ukraine. McGuinty spoke beforehand, outlining what Canada is doing as a member of the alliance.
To indicate Canada's commitment to the 2% target, a target we will meet 5 full years ahead of schedule. as we rebuild, rearm, and reinvest in Canada's Canadian Armed Forces. We're investing in our people. We're investing in our bases. We're investing in our equipment. But I want to also make it very clear, Canada is fully committed to the alliance. Canada is fully committed to Ukraine. And I'm looking forward to today's discussions. I think they will be productive at an important moment.
There has been a sharp drop in deliveries of weapons and ammunition in recent months to Ukraine. Kiev says it will need between $12 billion and $20 billion worth of military aid next year as part of a new NATO initiative to purchase U.S. weapons. Germany pledged more than $2 billion today.
That is a good boy, Zero. Oh, hi. Didn't notice you there. Jared Berry with the Saskatoon Soaps. Just tending to my graveyard back here. Truth is, I often think about dying. And I also think about homeless cats. That's why the Saskatoon Soaps Improv Troupe is teaming up with Street Cat Rescue this Friday, October 17th at the Broadway Theatre. Show starts at 8 for our annual Halloween event titled Laugh at the Living Dead. Sharing some joy, some laughs, maybe some terror, and hey, let's raise money for a good cause. Hey, Jeff, what's the weather like?
Spooky, scary. No, it's not going to be spooky or scary on Friday. I realize this is more of a summer picture, but it's the only shot I have of the Broadway Theatre. Anyhow, we've got ourselves a pleasant Friday. It's going to be mainly cloudy, 11 degrees for a daytime high, so by showtime, it'll probably be around 7 degrees or thereabouts. And once again, you can get your tickets and more information at BroadwayTheatre.ca. All right, let's take a look at some numbers right now. Our current temperature in Saskatoon is 9 degrees, 1 degree cooler in Prince Albert, where it is 8, 6 in the Battlefords right now. All three communities are cloudy, and as you can see, not particularly windy in any of these locations. A little breezier in Saskatoon. Saskatoon's almanac, well, a daytime high of 10 degrees, so that's still 2 degrees below seasonal. That's going to change. 28 degrees in 1961. Of course, that was one of the temperature record days yesterday, but was sharing it with two other dates. But now, all alone, 1961, a very warm day back in 1961, and a very cold day, a very cold October the 15th, -9 in 1919. The sun came up at 7:31. It went down at 6:13.
Coming up, unearthing something significant near Swift Current, a find that's been 80 million years in the making.
Winter is coming. Is your home ready? Thursday on Your Morning, the experts at Regina Plumbing and Heating on how to properly winterize your home ahead of the snowfall.
Okay, well, winter is coming, but we are going to get a bit of a rebound in terms of our temperatures. Things are cool, not too bad today, but actually warming up a bit tomorrow. But right now, you know, it continues. It's been a gray day, so it's a gray sky. It's cloudy right now. So let's take a look at our satellite and radar shot and see what that reveals. Well, it reveals there's this Colorado low that is continuing to move northward, and it's going to be sort of centered in Manitoba, and that means it's going to be on the backhand side of that low. We will see some active weather for parts of southern and southeastern Saskatchewan. That seems to be where it's going to be most active, but the rest of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and parts of northern Manitoba, and many parts of British Columbia looking relatively quiet right now. Let's move on to our current temperatures just for a recap. 9 degrees in Saskatoon, 8 in Prince Albert, and 6 in the Battlefords. On to our hot spot. Well, that was Buffalo Narrows at 12 degrees. Loon Lake for a second day in a row. Today's being the provincial cold spot today, even colder than yesterday, -7 degrees. And then as we take a look at our larger communities, it's 7 degrees right now in Lloydminster, 8 in Swift Current, Regina, Estevan, and Yorkton, 10 in Moose Jaw. Into the central part of our province for a closer look. Temperatures ranging from 5 degrees in Waskesiu up to 9 in a couple of locations, including Rosetown and Saskatoon. And then everyone else sort of around that 6 or 7 degree mark. We've got ourselves 8 in Watrous and Wynyard at the moment. Up north, it's 8 in Stony Rapids and Collins Bay and South End. A little cooler in Sandy Bay, Island Falls, but a little warmer in Buffalo Narrows, where it's 10. Down south, well, 4 degrees in the East End. They've had some rain in the area. 7 degrees in Leader and Maple Creek. 9 in Outlook and Elbow, and a number of other locations in and around that 8 or 9 degree mark. It's 7 in Broadview at the moment. On to our futurecast. Well, the indications are there's that system moving up from Colorado. You can certainly see it cycling around and sliding through the Dakotas into Manitoba. And as we take a look at what's going on in Saskatchewan, maybe a little bit more active weather in Alberta, but we're not expecting a ton of precipitation. On to our look at tomorrow. We're expecting cloudy skies in La Ronge and Stony Rapids, mainly cloudy in Key Lake, mainly sunny in Buffalo Narrows. 14 degrees in La Ronge, 13 in Buffalo Narrows, 6 in Stony Rapids, 9 in Key Lake. Temperatures of 13 or 14 degrees for west central Saskatchewan. Sunny in Meadow Lake and Spiritwood, a bit more cloud in Kindersley and Rosetown. Mainly sunny or sunny conditions for much of the southwest, although Leader is anticipating a bit more in the way of cloud cover, but temperatures don't vary all that much in and around that 13 or 14 degree mark. Slightly cooler by about a point in Yorkton and Regina, both expected to hit 12 degrees tomorrow under cloudy skies. Mainly cloudy conditions in Moose Jaw and Estevan, expecting some of that rain that we've been talking about. And in east central Saskatchewan, temperatures of a dozen or a baker's dozen. There you go. Clearing skies for the Battlefords, -4 degrees, mainly cloudy conditions on Thursday, and staying at 11 on Friday and Saturday, but a windy day in store for Friday. Sunday, 9 degrees, and back to work Monday, 5 degrees. For Prince Albert and area, clearing skies tonight, -2 degrees. Tomorrow's high, 13, 12 on Friday, 11 on Saturday, 9 on Sunday, and starting off the work week with a chance of some showers or rain or both, and 5 degrees, warming up to 9 by Wednesday. And Saskatoon's overnight temperature, 0 degrees with the winds backing off. The winds pick up a little bit, and they shift around too. Winds out of the northwest at 10, morning fog, and that'll burn off, dissipate, I should say. Cloudy skies tomorrow, essentially, though. 12 degrees on Friday, Saturday, sunny and 12, Sunday, cloudy and 12, so lots of 12s there, and 6 degrees on Monday, 9 on Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10 degrees.
Wouldn't have left you over the night. Wouldn't have done that to you.
What happened here? How did you manage to be here? How did you get out?
Persephone Theatre is in the middle of rehearsals for its presentation of The Woman in Black. This supernatural mystery ran for 33 years in London's West End, second only to Agatha Christie's The Mousetrap for longevity. This production stars Jonathan Pickrell and Matthew Burgess and is directed by Joshua Beaudry. Performances at the Ramey Arts Centre begin 1 week from tonight, and opening night is Friday, October 24th. Alec Baldwin says he and his brother Stephen were unharmed after a car crash in Long Island, New York. The actor was driving with his brother on Monday afternoon when their white SUV went off the road and slammed into a tree. In a video posted online, the 67-year-old says he swerved to avoid a garbage truck. No traffic citations were issued, and Baldwin says he's grateful that no one was injured. The crash happened shortly after the brothers attended the Hamptons International Film Festival.
I heard you were single. You heard I was single. Oh, that's interesting.
Katy Perry has now made a few comments that many people believe are about former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. During her Lifetimes tour stop in London this past weekend, Katy Perry was praising England, saying, "No wonder I fall for Englishmen all the time." Then added, "But not anymore." And then after a fan proposed to her, she answered, "I wish you'd asked me 48 hours ago." Well, there you go. The show was about a day after new pictures surfaced online were allegedly of her and Trudeau on a yacht in Santa Barbara.
All right, Jeff. Splash of Color helping a local charity.
It certainly is, and we got a closer look. This interview brought to you by the letter V. Yes, we have Vicky and Verl with us today, and we're getting ready for the Saskatoon Painters Club annual show and sale. And this year, it's got a bit of a twist, a charitable element. So first of all, Vicky, let's talk a little bit about the art show. It's been going on for many years now.
We've been having an art show here since 1992 at Grace Westminster, and our group of 20 members and 10 drop-ins gather here on Wednesdays and have an annual art show.
So the annual art show is coming up this weekend, and this year it's in support of an organization called, or in partnering with Adele House. And Verl, Adele House is what exactly?
Adele House is our second stage shelter for women and children that are fleeing from domestic violence. It provides a year of support, counseling, care, and offers a time for the decisions that they have to make that will change their lives.
All right, so a very important service being offered here in our community, and you're supporting this. I know there's an online auction that's going on, but of course we have the art show and sale itself. It's coming up on Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yes, we're going to be open here Friday at 6 p.m. until 9, Saturday 10 to 5, and Sunday noon to 4. The online show is on Facebook, and we've been advertising that the pieces will be here for the winning bids to come pick up their art. It'll be here as well.
All right, so all of it going on at Grace Westminster United Church. I want to thank Verl and Vicki, and it's happening this weekend.
All right, Jeff, time for pick of the day. What did you select?
Well, we've got three. We get a lot of photographs. I might add that it's tough picking, but these are the ones we're showing you today. This one comes from Joan. Hey, Jeff, the flowers may be finished, but not the fall colors. Go, Jays, go. And I think we can agree to both of those things, sort of, because this next picture... Well, this comes to us from Charlie up in the North Battleford area, and so much for the flowers being gone, because he says, my lupin blooming after the frost on October 14th. So, yeah, some flowers are pretty tough. So he didn't tell us if he covered it up or not, but I get the impression it beat the frost. Way to go. Thank you, Charlie, for sharing that. And this last one from Arden, and I believe up in the Birkdale area. Hi, our lone tamarack tree, 20 feet tall, is still not standing straight 2 days after the snow on Sunday. So, gosh, I hope your tamarack bounces back. But yeah, that's a lot of snow there. So thank you, Arden, for sharing that image with us. And if you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. Please put pick of the day in the subject line.
Still to come on CTV News, digging into Saskatchewan's past. A look at the significant find in the southwestern part of the province.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Saskatchewan, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
What could be one of the largest geological rock findings in Saskatchewan was recently found near Swift Current. As Sierra D'Souza Butts reports, it has much weight that this discovery holds with geologists.
For almost 10 years, Brian and Janie Gillis have been excavating soil a few kilometers out of Swift Current. However, one morning, workers dug out something that wasn't dirt.
He just said, you better come and look at the weird rock we dug out.
The rock in question turned out to be a 50-ton concretion forming about 80 million years ago.
I was really excited because to me it looked like an egg, but my family didn't seem too excited. And then my husband went out for coffee with a geology friend of his, and that's when the fire got lit.
After reaching out to different curators, the geology department at the University of Saskatchewan confirmed the finding to be of significance, being 2 or 3 times larger than others listed in the province's record books.
The brown stuff, it does represent weathering in a crack inside the concretion. It comes out of really unlithified sediment, and so therefore it really is a cemented, if you like, a cemented boulder inside unlithified or poorly lithified sediments, and that's really what a concretion is. It really represents a geochemical precipitate in a sphere or an oblong or even a bed sometimes.
Pratt adding, a concretion is different from a fossil as it does not possess any living properties, but rather earthly elements.
Then we'll probably have what's called a thin section made, and that's where we glue a piece down onto glass, and then we grind that down so you can see through it. And then under a special microscope, we can tell what kind of minerals we got.
Now being sent to a lab for testing, Janie is looking forward to finding out more about its origin.
It's been here forever, so it isn't new, but it's new to us.
The Gillis family says they hope the concretion can be used for educational purposes. Where it will end up is unknown, as moving a 50-ton rock can be quite the challenge. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, near Swift Current.
When we come back, something new for women's curling in Saskatchewan. And later, the dogs that were off to the races.
All right, let's take a look at our rural forecast. And we've got ourselves temperatures that are above seasonal in many, many respects. And that's certainly true of Meadow Lake at 14 tomorrow, 13 in Lloydminster, Spiritwood, Kindersley, 14 in Outlook. So above seasonal temperatures pretty much right across the board. Maybe not so much for Wynyard, 11 degrees. That's still not too bad. Some morning fog in the Watrous area, 13 degrees. Let's make our way down south where temperatures are a little warmer. No, actually, they're pretty much the same towards the western side of the province. It's towards the south central and southeastern part of the province where temperatures drop off, and that's certainly because of the rain that's moving through. We saw that with our computer modeling. We anticipated that there would be some rain, and so it's not a surprise that it cools things off. A quick look at what's going on tomorrow in Watson. 11 degrees tomorrow with mainly cloudy skies, light and variable winds. And just a reminder that in Watson on November the 7th at the Watson Civic Center, Jolie Blue as well as Quick Dick McDick are going to be performing. It's a fundraiser for the Watson Fire Hall, and you can get your tickets at Town Hall. You can get them at Napa and as well at the pharmacy. So there you go. A little plug for my hometown. And my hometown is where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
And welcome to another edition of X's and O's with Wes Cates. We didn't bring in the backups for this one, but you're going to see a lot of backups in Winnipeg. They can rest guys because of clinching first place last week. So, Wes, how do you approach these last few weeks? They're in Winnipeg, then they're at home against BC. Do you kind of like the idea of you rest a lot of your guys here, and BC, put your lineup in, maybe guys that are slightly injured don't, but basically play your team against BC?
That's a good point, Lee. I feel like though the way the Riders have been playing, I don't know if you're going to get anything out of playing your starters. Like, honestly, they haven't really had any type of rhythm to offense. They've had some great numbers, don't get me wrong. Trevor Harris has been throwing for 300. We found out about the sore shoulder and why his numbers were down a little bit. The offensive line's been doing great. AJ's top of the league. And the defense has had its ups and downs, but I can't say that the Riders have been playing really consistent. So right now, I just think it's about getting healthy. You know, I think for sure you sit everybody against Winnipeg. I guess depending on who BC plays, maybe you want to put your ones in there against their ones for a little bit just to kind of get a feel for the matchup, see where you might want to make some tweaks and game plan for the playoffs. But I would just say rest them, really, not even play them in the BC game, and just have you guys healthy and nice and fresh for that home Western final.
Is that too much, though, rest? Because, I mean, you've got those 2 games, then you've got a bye week. So you want guys like Trevor Harris, who seems to have kind of slowed down a little bit to kind of get that rhythm going. Yeah, I hate to say it, Lee, but it might be too long. Like, honestly, you don't, as a player, you kind of maybe lose a little something sitting for a while. But I think you can mimic it well enough in practice. You can get, maybe get a little bragging rights or maybe a little bet going in practice to get the ones against the ones. Have a little more of that action, and just do things to get the guys revved up, running around at full speed and just trying to protect each other, right? I mean, it's all still football, so at the end of the day, you can provide good looks, and your scout team guys can go out there and give it 100 and give you good looks. And I think that you just try to make up for those missed games by stepping it up a bit in practice. It's so weird to talk about a team that's 12-4. It's the best we've seen since the 1970s at this point, being having a record of 12-4. They've got first place all wrapped up, yet I can point to concerns with the kicking game, concerns with the secondary, concerns with the offense. I mean, Where are you with this team? It just seems so weird to have so many worries going into playoffs when you're first.
I'm a little concerned. Honestly, though, I mean, it's just been one of those situations where the Riders, they hadn't been able to start well. But now, last couple of games, you get a first drive touchdown. Okay, but then where's the kicking game at? Well, Lowther just went 5 for 5 his last time out. So you maybe you want to leave things on a high note, leave things good right now, and just kind of hope that you can just pick up that momentum. I think that a lot of it's going to be mental at this stage in the game. You know, everybody knows kind of what everybody's doing, so maybe tweaking, maybe adding a few more plays and just being as mentally focused as you can, making sure that you're getting the mental reps in, going over your plays and stuff so there are no busts next time you step out on the field, I think is the most important part. It's going to be the teams that play the cleanest, not necessarily the team that's had the most live action, right? It's going to be the team that has the most mistake-free game and can control the ball and get through it that way that's going to end up on top at the end of the season with the hoisting the Grey Cup.
Well, we'll still wait and see who they're going to end up playing. I mean, BC is going to go against Edmonton. Calgary is going to go against Toronto. Obviously, Winnipeg against Saskatchewan. That's probably going to come down to the last week. But for the Riders, it's all about focusing on what they need to do to ensure they play in that Grey Cup game in Winnipeg. We'll analyze this last game and look forward to another week on another edition of X's and O's.
The Women's Provincial Curling Championships taking place this year in Melville will have a new title sponsor. Curl Sask announcing today that Bunge, which bought Viterra, will be this year's sponsor of the tournament. The two organizations have been partners for 12 years and credit their collaboration on community events for why they've stayed together for more than a decade. This year, they'll focus on growing the game for the younger audience and to demonstrate wheelchair curling on the ice as well.
So the youth, obviously, the grassroots of the sport is so important and such with such a rich history here in the province. You can't go anywhere in this province without finding a small town rink in small town Saskatchewan. And with support like Bunge has been able to give us, we were able to help spread that message and get as many kids trying curling for the first time.
The Prairie Pinnacle takes place from January 5th to 11th. The winning team will move on to the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in Mississauga. We got another look at how American tariffs are affecting Canada. Manufacturing sales for August dropped by 1%. Morella Fernandez explains.
Sales fell in 12 of the 21 subsectors tracked by Statistics Canada, coming in at $69.4 billion. And that's a drop from the July number of $70.3 billion. Transportation equipment had the steepest decline, with fewer aerospace parts, vehicles, and car parts produced. Food sales also dropped, with less grain and dairy production. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar really didn't change. It ended the day at 71.19. West Texas Intermediate crude barely budged. It sits at 58.72. Western Canadian Select up a dime to 47.87. And the TSX moved up another 283 points today for another record high close. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon currently $1.27.7 a liter. Lowest price in town, $1.19.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day at $1.31.33, and Nutrien was up 22 cents. Coming up, the top picks for Halloween costumes this year. Then the little dogs hoping to win big.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV starting at 7 with Shifting Gears. Well, Halloween's top costumes for 2025 have been revealed. According to an annual consumer survey, #1 this year for kids' costumes is Spider-Man. In the U.S. alone, more than 2 million kids plan to dress up as the popular character this year. Second on the list is Princess, with #3, another old standard, a witch and a ghost coming in at 4. So
I gotta say, I'm surprised you know, that Spider-Man is not so much that it's the top one, but the other ones aren't also sort of superhero-y.
Yeah,
There you go.
well,
Cool. Yeah.
Traditional is the key here.
Exactly. A lot of kids want to dress up as J. Jonah Jameson. It's true.
Okay, we'll have to fact check that later. Well, they were off to the races in Germany. Take a look at this. More than 100 Dachshunds raced for glory at the 3rd international competition. The fastest dog completed the 40-meter trek in just 4.4 seconds. The races were just part of this festival. The event also included, as you can see, some dog dancing demos ahead of the European Dog Dancing Championships coming to Hungary next month. Did you know there were dog dancing championships?
I did not know. I did not know. This is pretty spectacular, pretty impressive.
Yeah, you'll have to try that at home with your dogs. No? They can't dance?
Good luck with that. Yeah, anyhow, no, but I love them to bits, but I don't think they're dancers, you know.
Try. Maybe they're dancing at home. You don't know. You don't know when you're not there.
Yeah, I'm going to put on some security cameras, see if they've been dancing. Stop with the dancing!
Thanks for watching. Have a good night.